Little Kush, he's 4 years old. He had a troubled childhood in the sense that he was a little bit delayed. There's a lot of challenges he faces where he cannot express things. Every day, minute, second is critical for him. For him, we have to be in a hurry. My name is Vivek. I would describe myself more to be primarily a parent to 4 kids, but to especially Kush. When we initially went to the pediatrician, they just threw out random diagnoses. They said microcephaly and ARX and autism and stuff. If you Google through any of these terms, it's so depressing. You'd never want anything but the best for your child, and you do not want all of these scary things to be associated with your kid. It took us about 18 months of testing, going to various doctors, neurologists, hospitals, genetic tests to the US, everywhere to finally get an answer. When we got the answer of a diagnosis of FoxG1, the first impression was, okay, he's got FoxG1 and what do we do now? So we know what the issue is there. Where do we find a cure for this? Where do we, what shop do we go to buy a medicine to fix it? It was a very big shock when we realized that he was the first child in Sydney who actually had the diagnosis. There was no other kid that we could speak to, or no other parent that we could speak to or find out about what is the answer for this.
If I tell you what cancer is or what HIV is, I'm sure you're going to be able to answer. If I say FoxG1, I'm sure you won't be able. FoxG1 is what we call a monogenic disease. The problem is one single mutation in one gene, and this gene is essential for the development of the brain. And obviously, if you mutate this gene, then the development doesn't occur as it's supposed to. So that's what FoxG1 syndrome is about. The kids affected with FoxG1 typically can't walk, can't eat by themselves, and generally speaking, I can tell you, the spectrum comes with seizures. That is why we also want to work as a matter of urgency.
There was one day when at home he had a big epileptic seizure, and we were so scared. No parent should have to go through that experience because it's really scary. If you see a little kid, it almost feels like they're about to die. His skin turned blue, he stopped breathing for a couple of minutes, and the ambulance came and we took him to the hospital. He pulled through. Then I think later on, after lots of trials, at one point we had a big jar of drugs in the kitchen, so we had to give him 5 different medicines at 5 different times, or together, and we had to try really hard to control the seizures.
Because the disease that Kush is affected with is what we call a monogenic disease, so we know exactly where the mutation stands in his DNA. Then the technology that I'm talking about is able to not only identify this mutation, but also fix it. So to give you an idea, any cell of your body have about 3 billion base pair in your DNA. What the base pair are, they are letters. It's 4 types of letters, and these 4 letters are your entire DNA, right? Put them one after the other, you have 3 billion in each and any of your cells. And what this technology, CRISPR-Cas9, is able to do is pinpoint 1 out of these 3 billion and correct it to the normal version. That's the equivalent of a 30 volumes encyclopedia that is able to do in one instant a correction of 1 misspelled word. The reality is, if we achieve this milestone, then we will need the entire community to come along and help us.
We started the foundation once we found out about Kush's diagnosis. I think the diagnosis, without a doubt, it was the most devastating news that any parent could get. But with FoxG1, once we knew the diagnosis, it was a double-edged sword. It actually shut down a lot of doors for us, but at the same time, it opened up a lot of doors as well. The more we found out about FoxG1, we realized that there was something we could do about it. There's so many advances happening that give promise to a cure. Once we started the foundation, we wanted to have everybody know about FoxG1. The challenge from our side is, because Kush was the first child in Sydney, nobody knows about Kush, and if there is anything that we can do that can help raise the awareness, that is where motorcycles come, because they are loud and people notice them. So I went to motorcycle rides, went to rides on the weekends, and connected groups. And if we can help the King Shorts Motorcycle Club make our message louder and help it spread more, that'd be a fantastic outcome for us.
I met Vivek on one of our runs, on one of our Valentine's runs actually, and he told me all about Kush. And with our little group, I want to really focus on something for this year, and decided that was going to be it. So we've been supporting them in various fundraisers, helping them out, and he's come to all of our events. And it's become like that little family interaction thing where we can all help each other.
Yeah, lucky to have met Vivek and the family and our friend Kush, and try and get out and support whenever we can. We do some rides for FoxG1. We actually turned up at Bunnings. They did a fundraiser there. They were expecting 2 riders. I think there was about 40 of us. Yeah, we all got together and up the road and
Great day.
roared down through the car park, making too much noise.
Even the budding staff loved it. It was like, when is it happening again? Yeah, you give us the day. It'll happen again. We need to book in again. So yeah, it's very helpful. It's second family, very extended family. So when you ask any help, they're just there. So surely extended family. We're all coming for a sleepover.
People don't realise just how big and wide and vast the biker community really is, and what they actually do out there. Like I said, the papers will never print it because good news doesn't sell. Unfortunately, we all get tarred with the same brush because we're easily, our uniforms are all the same. But yeah, rest assured, not all bikers are bad.
We've just come across so many nice people along the journey. It's been a pleasant surprise. Like through this challenge, like we've been associated with a lot of people. A lot of people now know about this condition, and I think they appreciate the efforts that we're trying to do to help him.
We are at the very beginning of the project, so what the Australian FoxG1 Foundation has managed to do so far is a big effort in terms of raising awareness and fundraising, and this fundraising allowed us to finance a PhD position. So I do now have a student who has just started and is characterizing, as we speak, the FoxG1 mouse models. What you have to imagine is, as we speak, the technology that we are using has been developed very recently, yet the achievements have been unprecedented, and the first clinical trials using CRISPR-Cas9 are starting in China and very soon in America. We are also hoping that this kind of treatment can open the door to other treatments. We're hoping that somehow if you can fix one, you can fix the others.
Researchers are working because they want to help pretty much everybody. That is going to help me and you and our kids and our future generation. From my side, as a parent, I try to do whatever I can to help Kush. One of the things I try to say is, like, if the roles were reversed, I think he would have done the same for me. But yeah, like, I think when you hit the dumps, and like, I think somebody just comes and taps you on the shoulder, you get like, there's a lot of people who are behind this now. So I think we're just grateful to everybody for just coming together and like helping us, and yeah, it has been, and now I don't want to like cry, but because we're doing something that's going to be good, or that's going to be it's going to be Kush's legacy to the world. I think he's lucky in a way that he's been able to make an impact to so many lives. But I think it's not all roses. The ultimate, the light at the end of the tunnel is that I know that we will find a cure. Things are accelerating so quickly that every day you open up the browser and you see another bright light somewhere.